Hello students, welcome to online classes of geography of class 10. This is my 8th class and I have already completed my entire discussion of the topics of the chapter, that is all the topics. Now already I mentioned that today I am going to proceed with the NCERT questions and the CBSE board questions. So let us proceed with the NCERT question. Now the first, that is MCQ, that is given: which one of the following describes a system of agriculture where a single crop is grown on a large scale? And the answer is plantation. That is the option number B. Number 2, which one of the following is a Rabi crop? That is B. Gram is a Rabi crop. Number 3, which one of the following is a leguminous crop? That is number A is the leguminous crop. Next, answer the following question in 30 words. Now, name one important beverage crop and specify the geographical condition required for it. So, hopefully we know the beverage crops are tea and coffee. So tea and coffee, any one of the two, it's already there in the PDF, and you just proceed with the geographical conditions required for its growth. Next, it is any one staple crop of India and the region where it is. One staple crop, either rice or wheat, anything you can proceed with as a staple crop. Now, enlist the various institutional reform programs introduced by the government in the interest of the farmers. Already, it's just written in 30 words, but I have given an entire answer of this question. So, it's already there in your note. If you are updating your copy with the notes that has been uploaded in the that is slides in the PowerPoint. So there is no need to write all the answers which is similar to the new notes that has already been written in your copy. Now question number 4. The land under cultivation has got reduced day by day. Can you imagine its consequences? So what will be the consequences? Number 1, pressure on agricultural land, that is there will be huge pressure on cultivable ground. Number 1. Number 2, it is then there will be lack of food supply. There will be lack of food supply. And number 3, there will be more unemployment, more poverty. There will be more poverty. So basically these are the 3 consequences when pressure on cultivable land will increase. Why? Because land is shrinking but population is not shrinking. Lack of food supply, so the duration of the cultivation will not increase in that order. So obviously the quantity that will be produced will get reduced day by day. So lack of food supply, and when there is the land will be shrinking, the landless farmers, those who were employed over there, they will not get their scope to do the work on the fields. So as a result, how they are going to earn their livelihood? So it will lead to poverty, more poverty. So these are some of the connected consequences if the land under cultivation get reduced day by day. Now next it is suggest the initiative taken by the government to ensure the increase in agricultural production. Now it is measures are there. Number 1, the reforms that they have taken, all the reforms. Number 2, what is it? It is establishment of ICAR. Number 3, agricultural university and research work. It is agriculture university and research work. Number 4, development of rural markets, or rather we can say development of rural infrastructure, rural infrastructure. And number 5, development of weather forecasting, development of weather forecasting. So these are some of the points that will be elaborated to support this answer. Hopefully it is clear to everybody. Now next, describe the impact of globalization on Indian agriculture. I think the impact of globalization on Indian agriculture is nicely given in the slide that has already been uploaded in the previous classes. You will get that the answer from there, and you can jot down the answer from the topic that has already been discussed. Geographical condition required for the growth of rice. It's given in the PDF, so your work is completely done beforehand only. Now let us proceed with the CBSE board questions. We started from 2010. Agriculture had been the backbone of the Indian economy, but the declining share of agriculture in the GDP is a matter of serious concern. Explain the meaning of the statement. Now, what does this indicate? 52% of Indian population depends on agriculture. So when 52% of population is depending upon agriculture, what is the resultant? The land is shrinking, and as the land is shrinking, the that is a GDP share is declining because the produce is reducing. So first of all, it is the main thing that half of the population of our country depends upon agriculture, but as the land is shrinking, so the produce is reducing and the resultant GDP is declining. Number 1. Number 2, the second aspect of it is that the government is continuously pulling out its hand from the agricultural sector. So when it is pulling out its hands from the agricultural sector, what is it? The import duties are increasing, the subsidies are reducing, and as a result, it is creating a burden on the farmers. And when it is creating a burden on the farmers, if there is any sort of crop failure due to natural calamity, due to any sort of diseases and pesticides, that is any sort of diseases or any sort of other drought or any sort of other influence of environment, then what is the resultant? The crops will reduce, the production will reduce, and the farmers will be unable to get the things back from their investment. So as a result, they are there with the burden of debt. And when it is there for the burden of debt, what is the resultant? They are committing suicide. So though it is considered as a backbone of the Indian economy, but when all are these things are just against, it's detrimental to the farmers, so it is creating a serious concern or a major concern for the economy. You have to proceed your answer in this order. Now next, mention the geographical condition required for the growth of tea in India and name any two tea growing states of southern India. One is Karnataka, another one is Tamil Nadu is also there, Kerala is also there. So these are the three states, that is the Nilgiri zone, where we are having the junctions of Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Karnataka. So you can mention any two states of South India where the tea is there and the geographical condition has already been mentioned. Compare the geographical condition required for the two major cereal crops of India. Now you have to compare the geographical condition, that what is the temperature requirement, what is the rainfall requirement, what type of soil they are needed, and are the basic three geographical conditions that is needed for growing of the two major crops. Now next it is, why is subsistence agriculture still practiced in certain parts of the country? Because in our country there are still densely forested areas where tribal society resides, so they practice primitive subsistence. And when it is being said for the subsistence agriculture still practiced in certain parts of the country, why? Because it is the second populous country and the demand of the food is maximum. That means the dependency on the food grain is maximum for the food supply, for the that is food grains. So whatever it is being produced, it is consumed by the that is the consumers of the country itself. That is why still it is practiced in certain parts of the country. It is a 3-mark question. The mark has not been written beside the question. What geographical conditions are required for the cultivation of sugarcane, and name two largest producing states of sugarcane? Geographical condition is there in the PDF already given in the slides, and the two largest producing states of sugarcane, one is Uttar Pradesh, another one is Maharashtra. Now next it is related to 2011. What is intensive subsistence farming? Write 3 features of this type of farming given in the notes. Explain any 5 institutional and technical reforms brought down by the government to improve the condition of Indian agriculture. Now here 5 is the marks that is being allotted to this question. So it will be in the safer side if you are writing 3 points of the technical reforms and 3 points of the institutional reform. So there will be equal balance to support the answer. Next, why has Indian agriculture started a declining trend of the food production? How can we overcome this problem? It is a question of 3 marks. Now, why has Indian agriculture started a declining in the trend of food production? Because now it has to compete it with the international market. Now, it has to compete it with the international market. So, the value of the food grains is comparatively less. So, they are reducing the food grains, rather they are concentrating on the cash crops. That is one basic reason. And how can we overcome this problem? We can overcome this problem with the help of strategy of multiple cropping and crop rotation. Multiple cropping and crop rotation. We can conserve this problem, overcome this problem. If we are continuously concentrating on the cash crops, then there will be a shortage of food grains. And if there is a shortage of food grain, then there will be a lack of food security. So as a result, we have to concentrate on the food grain, and simultaneously we have to increase the standard of our Indian agriculture in the entire world market. So for this, we have to start the multiple cropping, and then intercropping or crop rotation, we have to follow the strategy. Next is a direct question, primitive subsistence features. Then next question, explain any 5 features of primitive subsistence farming. You have to directly explain the 5 features. Explain the rubber cultivation in India with respect to the importance. What is the importance? What are its uses? Where it is being used? Then its geographical conditions that is being required, and the producing states. So you will explain it in that order. Now give an account of oilseeds in India and state the importance of groundnut and name the state where it is grown. Hopefully, if it is there in your note, no need to proceed with the same question with the answers. Now 2011, the last question. Why the pulses are mostly in rotation with other crops? Name any two major pulse producing state. Now the pulses are mostly in rotation with the other crops because it is basically a leguminous crop, and it is due to its that is the quality of that having that rhizobium bacteria that is able to fix out the nitrogen, so thus it helps to restore the fertility. So as a result, when it is able to restore the fertility, so it is very much needed to grow it in a pattern with the crop rotation. And two major pulse producing state, Gujarat is there, then Maharashtra is there. The southern states are also there. You can write any states which are very much enriched in producing pulses. Next it is define plantation agriculture, explain any four characteristics. So the plantation agriculture and four characteristics, it's a direct question. Two major cotton producing states of northern India. You have to mention the two major cotton states of northern India and describe the geographical condition. Everything is given in your that is the PowerPoint of the previous classes. Distinguish between primitive subsistent farming and commercial farming. Now when there is such questions, primitive subsistent and commercial farming, please don't write your answer point wise, first for the primitive subsistent and second for the commercial farming. You will not score any of the marks for such type of answer. It should be written in a tabular form and with the proper criteria or with the proper basis. When you are describing about the technology that is being employed, it will be related to the status of technology. When it is the what type of irrigational facilities, are they depending upon directly on the monsoon or they are having the advanced techniques of irrigational facilities. So proper criteria will be given. You will select out any of the 5 points from the notes, and with the proper criteria you have to prepare your answer for this question. Next, what is known as golden fiber? We all know jute is known as golden fiber. Where it is grown in India and why? It is basically the largest growing areas of West Bengal, Assam. It is grown in these two areas more in a large number. And why it is so? Because the climatic condition that is required for its growth is very much possible or suitable over here. And describe the uses of this fiber. The jute is basically used for making the carpets, making the gunny bags, and it is very much used for the packaging purpose, for making the ropes, and even when we are having that is when we are going to paint the houses, at that time the brushes are also made of the jute fiber. So in this way there are many uses. You can write any of the two uses that is being there for that is for the answer. Now next, 2013, explain the steps taken by the Indian government to modernize agriculture. Already I explained, that is establishment of ICR, development of rural infrastructure. All these are already mentioned. You have to just explain those points once again. It's just a repetition of a question in a different language. Explain any 3 features of Indian agriculture. The 3 features: number 1, subsistent in nature. Number 1, it is subsistent in nature. Number 2, monsoon, dependence on monsoon. Basically, it depends on monsoon. And number 3, it is labor intensive. It is labor intensive. So, it is question number 2 of 2013, subsistent. It is question number 2 of 2013. Subsistent, monsoonal dependency, and labor intensive. There are many points. You can write down any other points also. Any 3 features of the Zaid season, it is there in your that is a slide. Mention 2 geographical condition required for the growth of maize crop in India, and describe 3 factors which have contributed to increase in maize production. Everything is given that excessive use of fertilizers have increased, they are getting proper irrigational facilities, and continuously the techniques have been employed to increase the production of the maize. It's given in your PDF. What are the growing conditions required for the main staple food crop of India? Mention the main growing areas. Again, it's a repetition. Suggest any 5 measures to enhance the agricultural production in India. Again, it's a repetition. Next, 2014, describe the types of farming practiced in India. Now, all the types, primitive subsistence, intensive subsistence, then comes commercial farming, then it is plantation farming. All these types of the farming which are there, you have to just elaborate it with a very means within maintaining the word limit. So all the types of the farming to be explained but in a precise manner. Now the comparative study of the 2 fiber crops with their geographical conditions. It's a 3-mark question. The mark is not mentioned beside that, just note it down. It's a 3-mark question. You have to write any 3 points of comparison between the 2 fiber crop, that is jute and cotton. Next question is describe the reforms which led to India to the green and the white revolution. Now reforms, for the green the reforms which led to India to the green and white revolution. Now the green revolution and the white revolution both are the revolution coming under the technological revolution. For the growing of the food grain, it is green revolution, and for increasing the productivity of the milk, it is white revolution or operational flood. Now next, describe any 5 steps taken by the government to increase the productivity of agriculture. Again, it's just the repetition. What is the position of India? That is 2016. What is the position of India in sugarcane production in the world? It is second. First position is of Brazil. 2017. Compare intensive farming and commercial farming practiced in India. 5-mark question. Again, it's just a comparative study where you will prepare your answer from the slide that has already been uploaded. The government has introduced various reforms to improve agriculture in the 1980s and 1990s. Support this statement with example. The government has introduced various reforms to improve agriculture in 1980s and 1990s. Now, the first, it's related to the institutional reforms. Institutional reforms that is being introduced in 1980s. You have to explain all the institutional reform. It is basically 1980s and 1990s. The institutional reforms have been introduced in both in these 2 that is the decades, and both decades, and you have to explain it by giving the examples. Now 2018, highlight any 3 differences between Kharif cropping season and Rabi cropping season. It's already given in your notes. 2019, there is no question, and 2020, there are 2 questions. Analyze the features of commercial farming, and another question, it is now the second question that was there for the year 2020, analyze 5 challenges faced by the Indian farmers. So what you can see, it's again a repetition question. We have already discussed the answers of such question in the previous years. Now by seeing the trend, 2019 there was no question from this chapter, and this year the question was related to the commercial farming. The question was related to the challenges faced by the Indian farmers. Now, the topic that has not yet been discussed for the last 3-4 years, it is impact of globalization. That is important. And the topic that has not been, you can see it is related to that, even that Bhudan Gramdan movement is not been discussed over here. And one more thing is not, it means for the last 4 years, the topics that are not discussed is any sort of geographical condition required for cultivation of any important crop. So those topics can be considered as an important topics for your batch, for this present class 10 batch at the time of board exam. It is just my rough guess or my assessment. So now it is your responsibility to prepare the answer, to write the answers in your copy. Now, if the questions are common, no need to repeat the answers. No need to repeat the answers. And whatever the map that we are going to do, the school has already provided a map book. So you will do your map pointing in the map book that is given by the school. And the next it is, I'm going to proceed with the next chapter from the next class, that is mineral resources, mineral and energy resources. Hopefully you have followed the class. If you are having any doubt, just mention your doubts in the comment section. And obviously, thank you for following today's class. Have a nice day.